Bob Maloney from my MMAnews.com and Ground Zero Grappling, and I am talking to my man Connor, the Caveman Dixon. Connor is a Bellator veteran. He just opened up his own academy, the Cave, in Gloucester County, over in Franklinville, just outside of Clayton. And great to talk to you, Connor. You got a match coming up. Before we get through that, happy holidays. How you feeling, brother? I know you got a lot of exciting family news going on. What's going on, my bro?
What's up, Bob? How you doing? Yep, I'm getting ready for this big match. Like you just said, I got a baby on the way. She's almost 19 weeks now. So yeah, and just opened my school. That's going good. Slowly but surely growing. Getting to do what I love, teach jiu-jitsu, and it's my favorite thing.
Well, listen, let's talk about that, Connor. Listen, you've made jiu-jitsu, your lifestyle. It's more than just a sport to you. I mean, you have your own academy now. You love coaching it. You love getting better. What was it about, the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, the sport that, that grabbed you, that said, you know what, this has got to be a part of my life. This is what I'm going to do, with my time on this earth?
Well, it's always been my life. I actually started in judo when I was 7. I did a couple years of judo, and then I got into jiu-jitsu around when I was 10. And I did jiu-jitsu my whole life. I wrestled high school and college. And I didn't get into MMA until I was in college wrestling. That's when I started training under Daniel Gracie. So I've always been a jiu-jitsu guy. I've always felt like a jiu-jitsu guy. That's always been my focus. Even when I did MMA, I mean, in 3 pro fights and 3 amateur fights, I got punched less than 10 times. I was a jiu-jitsu guy doing MMA, taking people down, tapping them out. So I didn't even get hit that much during my MMA career. So I've always been a jiu-jitsu guy. So I'm just really just returning to my roots.
Listen, you're under Daniel Gracie family, that the black belt flag. Who Daniel, I know, is in Vegas a lot now. Connor, who was like your mentors? Who do you always listen when you talk to? One thing I've learned about the sport is, guys, even though they own academies, they still want to get better. They still want to improve. They still want to learn. Who would you consider? If you have questions or you want to learn something, who do you go to? Who's your mentor?
So these days, it's a lot of online studying. I have a BJJ Fanatics account that has literally 100 instructionals. So got a couple guys I watch a lot. Craig Jones, Gordon Ryan. I have a lot of John Danaher stuff. I have some Nicky Rod stuff. Mikey Musumeci. I do a lot of online studying myself. There's a lot of good stuff on YouTube too. You hear a lot of people in the jiu-jitsu community talk bad about online learning, but you just got to know where to look. You got to know that the guy's legit that you're watching from. And I always say this: I don't pretend to know everything. I'm still learning. I'm still studying almost every week, like learning new things myself, and that's important for me. Keeping up to date on the modern jiu-jitsu trends for my own students, because I can't be set in my ways now that I own my own school, and I still have goals myself too. I'm still constantly learning and evolving myself, and I'm always watching high-level footage, seeing what the guys are doing, going to the jiu-jitsu room and kind of experimenting, trying all the new stuff that all the best guys in the world are doing. And I always say, I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. There's much better guys than me that have done all the leg work, figured everything out. So literally, I just copy the best guys, and that ends up working out for me pretty well. I mean, like I said, I don't need to figure everything out. Better guys than me have done it, and honestly, a lot of online learning at this point.
Well, listen, those people that are down about online, listen, it isn't like you're just going to go online and say, okay, that's how you do it. You're obviously taking that to the mat once you're watching it online. So it's you're completing the entire process. It's not like you're just watching a video saying, oh, this is how you do it. You're taking that technique, that submission, that move to the mat and putting it in yourself. So there's nothing wrong with that. And you brought up guys like Gordon Ryan, John Danaher. I mean, you're talking about, the best in the business, man. That's a great place to go. Let's talk about your match coming up. Your last Ground Zero bout. You had a beautiful submission over a tough guy, Andrew Kokel, who's really tough. He's competing a lot. Now you're going in, and obviously you're not going to be intimidated because you're going in against a UFC veteran, Kyle Dawkins. I mean, you've trained with Sean Brady. You've trained with so many UFC guys, so that to you, obviously, plus you fought in Bellator, so that's obviously not really like you're not looking at, oh, I'm going in there with this UFC guy. But Kyle has obviously been in the sport a long time like you. He's very talented. Will Martinez has done a great job in a short period of time building Ground Zero. I know you've competed for us several times, and I'm glad to see you coming back. Talk to me a little bit about the event and your match against Kyle, who, the Darce. We'll talk about it after this because I want to ask you something else. But talk a little bit about your match with him and Ground Zero.
So yeah, Kyle's a big, tough guy, real long, real skinny, long build, got super long arms. Like you said, I've been at Ground Zero a few times now, and I think I've gone against. I think every single match I've had at Ground Zero, I've gone against tougher guys than Kyle Dawkins, to be honest. Not that Kyle Dawkins isn't good or anything like that. He's good. He's a real long, athletic guy, but I don't want to say he's a one-trick pony, but his main attack that you have to worry about is his Darce. It's getting in a bad spot underneath of him and him reaching real long through those gaps with his long arms. I've gone against tough guys at Ground Zero. Kyle Myers. What's his other name? The guy with the long hair. I'm having a brain fart right now. What'd you say, babe? Cockle, and then the other guy, long hair. The other guy I went against at Ground Zero.
You went against the balance guy.
Kyle Hughes, yeah. Kyle. I've gone against some tough guys at Ground Zero, so I have experience going with a lot of tough guys. Honestly, with this match, I just need to not get in a bad spot with him. I can't be playing bottom half guard, laying on my side with him trying to pass me, because that's where he's going to shoot those arms through. I can't sit turtle underneath him because he's going to shoot those long arms through. But I don't really plan on being on bottom with Kyle Dawkins, to be honest. I feel good about this matchup. I feel like I have better wrestling than him. I feel like I'm going to be able to pass his guard. I don't think he's going to be able to pass my guard. I think I have better leg locks than him. That being said, I can't underestimate him. He's a tough, athletic guy. So if I sleep on him for a second, he's going to shoot those long arms through. But I feel good about the matchup. I feel real good about it. And like you said, I've trained with plenty of tough guys. I've been around the block. I've competed against pretty much all good guys around 200 pounds in this area. I compete a lot of jiu-jitsu, especially the last 3-4 years. So I feel good about it. I don't feel intimidated at all. Like you said, I have a lot of experience.
Kai, what you were just saying, I love, because, a few years ago, there wasn't all the submission grappling matches available, and now the sport has really exploded, and you're seeing, on a pretty regular basis in this area in PA and New Jersey. Talk to me. Have you seen the same thing with, a lot of all kinds of people coming up?
I was just having that discussion the other day. There's all these super fight leagues. Back in the day, I remember back when super fights first started getting popular, there's Metamoris, there was like Polaris, but there wasn't many. Now these days, like every month, there's another super fight league. We've got Finishers, we've got Fury, we've got Ground Zero, we've got Arena, we've got Hammer Challenge Series. Like there's so many super fight leagues that afford the opportunity to have these big matchups. And I'm super excited for where the sport's going. I think it's just going to keep on getting bigger and bigger. And I'm really happy to be afforded these opportunities. And I love Ground Zero. Ground Zero has been always super nice to me. Will Martinez, you, all those guys that run that show.
Mike Bickings,
Mike Bickings, especially with him in Art of War too. They run a great show, and they've always been super nice to me. So I'm really thankful for all the opportunities that they've been affording me.
Well, listen, I'm glad that you're right in the middle of this explosion, like we just talked about all this. And listen, it's great. It just shows you how many more people are getting into this sport and how many people are taking it serious. The world is, not getting kinder out there. The world is getting uglier. So the more people that are getting involved in mixed martial arts is going to make both you and me happy, especially when they're showing up, knocking on the door at the cave, saying, I want to come in and be able to defend myself. Give a little bit of, give people out there the address for the cave, tell them a little bit about it, and give us some shout outs, Connor, before we go.
So the cave, it's in Franklinville, New Jersey. It's just south of Clayton and Glassboro, just north of Vineland, kind of situated in more of a rural area right in between those two big cities. We're at 2205 Delsey Drive, and we're just slowly building. I take my jiu-jitsu program very seriously. I have a very structured curriculum where we go position by position and break down absolutely everything. So if you're serious about learning good high-level jiu-jitsu and learning in a structured format, then you need to come out of the cave. And again, I'm not like a lot of these other gym owners. I don't want to disparage anybody, but I'm still young. I'm still competing at a high level. I'm still learning. I'm not stuck in my ways. I'm constantly evolving myself, and I pass that on to my students. You know, I don't pretend I know everything. I'm constantly looking up stuff and learning myself. So we have a very up-to-date, modern style here at the Cave. Do a lot of takedowns, like defense, gi, no gi. We're split right down the middle. So I'm very happy about how our school's going. And like I said, we're slowly but surely growing. And I think we got women's classes, kids classes, night classes, morning classes. We got everything, man. This is my full-time job, and I'm there every day, pretty much twice a day. And we're happy about how things are going. We've got a crop of good students. A few people are there pretty much every single day, and I'm real happy to have all my students.
Well, listen, thank you from me as a fan for competing at you. You're a fun competitor to watch. I enjoy watching you do your thing, and I appreciate your contributions to the community. It means a lot to everybody, including that area in Gloucester County. I have a lot of friends and family over there. Connor Dixon, once again, the Caveman, going up against Kyle Dawkins, UFC veteran, coming up this weekend at Ground Zero Grappling. Always great to talk to you, Caveman. Give my best to your fiance and that one that's on the way. I'm sure I'll see you guys this weekend. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Keep doing your thing, man. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Always good talking to you.